Hey everybody, Gary here with Guitar Tricks, and in this video we're going to go over the B minor chord. So this is one of those chords that you're going to encounter maybe after you learn a lot of your open chords. A B minor is going to come up, and it's not an open chord, but it could be. Check it out. This is the easiest way to play it. We could then from there go like this. From there we could go like this. Then we have these cool other options like this one, or this, or this, or this one, and even up here. So we're going to talk about a few different options, when you might use them, some technique tips for how to play them, and then we'll even go over a chord progression that uses a B minor. Before we get into the lesson, please go ahead and click the subscribe button so that you get all of the latest and greatest content from Guitar Tricks. If you like this video, click that like button. And if there's any other videos like this, chord breakdowns, any topics that you're struggling with, let us know in the comments. All right, here we go. So the B minor chord is just 3 notes: B, D, F sharp. A lot of times we think chords are, 5 notes or 6 notes, right? But it's really just these 3 notes: B, D, F sharp. So if you just want to play a B minor chord in the most simple way, this is definitely it. On the top 3 strings, you put your index finger on the 2nd fret of the high E string, the 1st string. You put your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, the 2nd string. And then you put your ring finger on the 4th fret of the G string, the 3rd string. And you just play those 3 notes. Now, if you want to expand on that, give it a little more low end, some more of the low notes, you could replace your 3rd finger, your ring finger, with your pinky and put the 3rd finger right above it. Then you end up playing what we call the 5th of the chord as the lowest note. So then now we have, on those middle 2 strings, we have the 4th fret, and that sounds like this. A little more bottom. And then if you want to go bar chord, you could then bar your index finger and catch the root note B on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then also you have that note on the 2nd fret of the high E string. And now another option is to not bar and just press into that root note. And you could just mute out the high E string with the flesh of your finger. So now there's actually no bar, and I'm getting a very full sounding B minor. But if you can make that bar, there we go. And then some people like to also play the 2nd fret on the high E string, but I find that gets kind of muddy and usually is not necessary. That would be the 5th of the chord. I like to start on the root note B. And I like to mute out the low E string just with the tip of my index finger. Just lightly touch it, and then you could strum through all the strings and not have to worry about hearing that low E string. Okay, so to get this if we go back to the beginning, to get this one, the main thing is just pointing straight into the notes, right? So you want your fingers to be like little chairs. So I could just rest my finger on that. They're perpendicular to the fretboard. So in order to facilitate that, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could drop your wrists. The more I drop my wrist, the more my fingers come out. Or you could actually bring your hand up and do more of a squeeze like this. But experiment with the different planes of motion, dropping this way, coming up this way. But most importantly, your fingers aren't locked out like that. They're curled and pressing straight into the fretboard. Now with a bar chord, you do have to drop your wrist. It's very hard to play a bar chord if you're in this kind of grip right here. So for the bar chord, what I recommend is you pull your elbow in so that you're doing the bar with the side of the finger. See, that gives you some wiggle room. It's much more comfortable. If you're trying to put your finger straight on, you have 0 wiggle room, or else you let go of notes, right? But great bar chord practice is to come a little bit on the side of the finger. So I drop my wrist, pull my elbow in, I got that bar, and then that allows these fingers to really just go straight into the other notes. And then you just want to audit the chord, play all the notes, make sure they're ringing out. Sometimes this might happen. And if that happens, I could feel it, that my middle finger is muting the high E string. So I just have to adjust a little bit. It's these little micro adjustments. And after you do those micro adjustments, you'll start to really just get a natural feel for the chord, and you'll just get there in the moment and not have to always be micro adjusting. It's like millisecond adjusting. You'll go from like 1 second adjustment to half a second to a millisecond, and then you just get it. Another great thing to do is what I call stick the landing. I talk about this a lot in chord videos. Anytime you learn a new chord, you want to get over the habit of building the chord on the fretboard like this. You know, some people, they put one finger down at a time. You want to get the whole grip and then drop at the same moment. So see if you could hover your hand right over the position and then drop it down. And then play the chord, right? Even with the simple one, right? With this little one, same thing. Cool. All right, so that's the main B minor. Now, B minor is a chord that you're going to see a lot. In the key of D, it's the 6th chord. So you might see a chord progression that goes something like D to A to B minor to G. That's a good one to work on right here. So if I go D to A to B minor, I'm going to do the easy one, to G. See, that sounded good, and I just did the 3-finger B minor. Now I'm going to try it with one more string. D, A, B minor, G. Now I'm going to do it with the whole bar. D, A, B minor, G. Another great way to practice these chords is to arpeggiate them. Play each note individually and make a little pattern. Sounds cool, right? This way you know you're playing the whole chord as opposed to just going. Then you can't really tell which notes are working out and which aren't. Okay, so then from there, another really great way to play the B minor is in what we call the E minor shape, because here's an E minor. Now if we take that shape and we slide it all the way up like this, then we have a B minor. So what I'm doing is I'm barring the 7th fret all the way across all 6 strings with my index finger. Again, I'm bringing my elbow all the way against my body, and I'm doing a kind of twisting motion. And then I'm just putting my ring finger and my pinky, which are like a unit, like glued together, the pinky a little bit tucked under the ring finger. I'm putting those on the 9th fret of the A and the D string. Now, just like the other chord, we could break this one up into sections. If we do just the top 3 strings, we have this little 3-string bar. And that's a B minor chord. If I add the ring finger 2 frets up on the next string, when I say next, going from toes to nose, so string 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's also a B minor. Then, just like with the other one, I could replace the ring finger with the pinky, and then put the ring finger right above it. And then last but not least, the complete bar. And again, it's dropping that wrist down, elbow against the body, getting these fingers straight in perpendicular, and this one like a statue, a little bit on the side of the finger, so you have some wiggle room. Right, so we got this one, this, and finally this. Just like here, we had this, and then, all right, and then last but not least, this one's often overlooked. I really like this one. This is in the D shape, D minor shape, because here's a D minor. If we played the D minor with ring finger, pinky, middle finger, and then we slid that up like this, but put our index finger where we had an open string, then we have a B minor. This is a great Pretty simple chord because your fingers are just spread over those 4 frets. There's no bar. So we're doing index finger on this B, which is on the 9th fret of the D string, ring finger on the 11th fret of the G, pinky on the 12th fret of the B, and then middle finger on the 10th fret of the E. There we go. And of course, you can leave out that index finger and just go like this. So if we look at these 3 chords just on the top 3 strings, we have this one, we have this one, and we have this one. These are what we call triads. I'm sure you've heard the term. It's just the most basic root 3rd, 5th of the chord. In this instance, we have root, which is B, 3rd, which is D, 5th, which is F sharp. In this instance, we have the D, which is the 3rd. Then we have the 5th, which is the F sharp. And then we have the root on the top. So this one is 3rd, 5th root. And then this one here, we have the root on the B string, D, but on the G string, we have the 5th, the F sharp, and then on the E string, we have the 3rd, the D. So these are different inversions of the same chord. Inversion means if we start with 1, 3, 5, but then we do 3, 5, 1 or 5, 1, 3, that's just a different order of the notes. We call that an inversion. All right, so those are the ones I wanted to share with you. Of course, anything you play here, you could also play an octave up. Remember, the guitar repeats itself after the 12th fret. And like I said, a good chord progression to experiment with is what we call a 1, 5, 6, 4. It's the pop progression. So in the key of D, that would be 1, D, 5, A, 6 would be your B minor, and then 4 would be your G. If I wanted to do that over here, there's my 1, D, 5, A. I could do 6 B minor, and then I could do 4 G. That's with my bar chords, right? And then let's say I want to do it with this one right here. I could do this D, 1. I could do, let's see, 1, 5, 6, 4. So that would be D, A, B minor, G. All right, everybody, I hope that lesson helped you with the B minor, and even if you knew a couple B minors, I hope I showed you a different way to play it, or maybe you knew the whole chord, but you didn't realize you could break it up. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. As always, if you want to learn more about playing guitar and take a sequential step-by-step course in guitar fundamentals, rock, blues, country, different styles, head over to guitartricks.com. Happy playing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.